Evening. Frank, that jacket is you, buddy. That is you. You should wear it every day, 365 days a year. Good evening. Merry Christmas to all. I'll have to hit this resume thing again because it's been 2 months now. And who writes a resume that doesn't include 4 years, for the last years of his life, but gets hired in a job and from the outside? I don't understand it. You have more qualified people working for you, but you ignored them. Ignored them. So anybody in a company out there that's listening, give some input to this board that allowed somebody to receive a supervisory job without the last 4 years of his life on it. That's amazing. But, hey, I can't really comment on the action y'all take because there was none. Anyways, and now I was going to hit back on the maintenance issues. When you go to find somebody for this director's job, don't get them from within the district because anybody here already knows that they're not going anywhere. You can't increase the budget because you won't. This board won't. I don't think the superintendent has. If you do, it's for a contractor contracting out some AC units or contracting out. It's not hiring of people here in the district. You need qualified, that's another key word, qualified personnel from Palm Beach County to work in Palm Beach County School Board Maintenance Department. You don't have them. Every dime they get, they contract it out. And that's sad. I mean, I know usually you sit up there, you look at me, and you smile, and you bob your head like one of the little things on the dashboard. Like, you know, you really care. But it's time to show some of the stuff you care about. Now, I could go on and on about that, but now I think we should hit the true meaning of Christmas. The birth of a little baby in a manger that grows up, dies for our sins. That's the true meaning of the baby Jesus here at Christmas time. Now, you don't see that advertised on TV. You don't see it on the radio. You don't even hear too many people talk about it unless it's Sunday or Wednesday night at church. That's sad. You hear of politicians getting elected that's molested kids, running for office. We have a president, for crying out loud. And it's just a sad state of affairs. So, you know, I see the looking back and forth. Y'all are doing it again. Like, yeah, he's telling the truth, but I ain't saying nothing about it. And that's a shame. Y'all are elected to say something about stuff like this. You're elected to say, hey, what's going on? Why does he always complain about this? I've been doing it for 25 years. Is there any conversation amongst y'all? Oh, no, that's right, you can't. But he can. You can run that conversation through the superintendent. I don't mean to put you on a hot seat Christmas. I really don't. But that's enough. My 3 minutes is up. I wish each and every one of y'all a very Merry Christmas and be safe and have a happy holiday.
Thank you. Mary Ellen Pinkster, Brian Clement, Anna Maria Clement.
Okay, good evening, members of the board, Dr. Avasa. Happy holidays to all. My name is Mary Ellen Pinsker. I am a former teacher of 16 years and currently a mental health professional. But most importantly, I'm a mother of 2 children in the Palm Beach County school system. Today, I come to voice my concerns over the competency-based curriculum and especially its impact on our children, who are currently struggling with the rapid pace of a curriculum that is not developmentally appropriate for their age. In particular, the math and reading. Dr. Gary Thompson, a child psychologist, has voiced his concerns about the Common Core math standards. This is what he says: there are kids and teens, as well as adults like myself, who will never master symbolic processing of numbers and math concepts. Tens of thousands of public school children who will never be able to process this math in this manner over the course of their public school education. It's essentially cognitive child abuse. I have seen this curriculum transform traditional math problems, in particular multiplication, into complex multiple-step problems, which is unnecessary and challenging for the average student to follow. Most parents and teachers are very dissatisfied with the way the math is taught. Very little explanation comes home, and the parents have to resort to expensive tutors to fill in the gaps. The curriculum barely covers the topic, then kids are constantly tested, and if they don't understand, the class moves on anyway. This seems to lack continuity and fluency, which are the foundation and mastery of retention. In behavior analysis, we use precision teaching, which stresses the importance of frequency, and that leads to fluency. By focusing on fluency, the teacher can then adjust the curriculum's pace for each learner to maximize the learning based on his or her fluency measures. Dr. Carl Bender, who publishes extensively about fluency-based instruction, notes, quote, "Fluency should be an essential criterion at each step in an educational program because it allows the students to progress smoothly through the learning process, building each successive layer on a previous layer of fluent prerequisite skills and knowledge. We especially need this in math. Because fluency is not part of the Common Core, we have children with splinter skills and low performance outcomes. This pace of the curriculum does not allow for precision teaching or flexibility with student needs. Unfortunately, as Dr. Catherine Beal stresses, restricting students to curriculum beyond their cognitive capacities substantially lowers their achievement, which is resulting in too many children being left behind. This industrial model of education with high-stakes testing has also created intense anxiety in children, which I have personally seen in my own. These lecture-paced classes...
Can you please wrap it up? You've used it up your time.
I will. They basically silenced our children into complacent learners who are not inspired to become self-determined pupils, which does not advocate for one's self-dignity. Don't we as parents and educators want to inspire lifelong learning where education can be student-centered? When educational reform replaces the voices of teachers, parents, and students at the bottom of the pyramid, who are we really serving, and how is this helping our kids?
That concludes your comments. Thank you. Mr. Clement.
Dr. Avosa, the board, thanks for listening to us once again. This is becoming a monthly visit we're making here. And over the last 30 days, I've delved much deeper into the research that surrounds emissions from school buses. I was a little surprised that they have annual meetings to discuss this. It's such a medical issue. It's such an environmental issue, such a pollution issue. And as you know, I direct and represent the Hippocrates Health Institute, where you're seriously considering putting a bus depot with 300 buses that emit fumes and 450 employees. That's pretty much almost a 24-hour-day operation. It goes beyond 24 because you have lights, you have sounds, you start early in the morning, people are coming in and out. I assume that the buses in Palm Beach County will break down the same way they do in other places, so you're going to have mechanics in there working, etc. And our entire area is a messy area, not due to you, but due to the county commission, where they let industry and people's homes be in the same place. And we have thousands and thousands of people living in that neighborhood. And it's going to affect not only the Hippocrates Health Institute, but many, many neighbors. The safety issue is amazing. Golden Lakes, who is going to become a big, big group that is petitioning against this, is very concerned because a lot of their drivers have a difficult time seeing at night. They're much older, etc. You have a low-income community that is just to the west of where this is. And so I'm here to, as a human being, ask you to reconsider that there's a lot of land in Palm Beach County where people do not live. That's not directly in the middle of heavy traffic areas, that we could possibly reconsider putting such an industrial use. That, by the way, statistically, the data shows heightens cancer at a dramatic level. And thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Clement.
Thank you for listening, and thank you for all the good that you all do. You know, we're here to ask for your help to stop this proposed mega bus depot that will actually be right beside our property. And we have built up, since 31 years now, this amazing property with people coming from all over the world, and they're coming for recovery. They're coming to, our mission statement actually is to help people to help themselves so that they can enjoy this amazing West Palm Beach air. We have one of the best airs in the country, but what will happen is we'll have a bus depot right beside us with 300 buses that never stops. So we live in a residential area. And yes, when you first look at it, if you never came to the Institute, you would think, oh, this is all of just a commercial area. People live there. There's a big school there. The kids that are 6 weeks old through 12 years old are in that school. And that, you know, all of us are going to be totally inundated with traffic, with diesel fumes. And of course, diesel fumes are classified as a human carcinogen by many governmental authorities, including the International Agency for Research on Cancer. So, our institute started in Boston, in Massachusetts, 61 years ago, and we moved it to find the peace and the beauty and the health here. And it's a shock for us that we actually even have a proposed mega bus facility coming in our backyard. I mean, right where we are. And we just hope that we can get your help to stop this and move it somewhere where it's not a residential area. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. Anthony Barossa. Edwidge Coriolan, and Carl Silverman, and Jane Brown.
Good evening, board members. I'm a private citizen. I'm here on behalf to talk about the bus depot. But I'm here strictly as someone who's been going. I went to Hippocrates my first time approximately 13 years ago. And what I'd like to do is kind of connect the dots as far as what they really do from my perspective. Certainly Anna and Brian have talked enough about the health implications, but I went there 13 years ago. I was very sick. I was depressed. I was at a stage in my life where just, my health was failing. And I will tell you, I went there and I have, the first time I went for a couple weeks, and have followed through ever since then. It changed everything from my diet, from my attitude, from basically it had a much more profound impact than just eating healthy food. And I would really plead with you, it's hard for you to make a decision on the impact that it has in this community and in the world without going there. And when I say that, and I'm not someone who really, I'm very busy in my business and what I do, which is real estate in Miami and development, and I will tell you, I come up here all the time. I'm very active, and I think that what it really does is really more of a mind-body-soul connection. It's something that is really helping the world in general. I know that they've talked about having people come from all over the world and from many different countries. But I'm telling you, as one person, the amount of people that I have brought here and what it's done for my family and the people around me is really profound. And I think that to make a decision, and I understand development, and I understand progress, and I understand from a distribution standpoint, it's close to the highways, et cetera, but there's a lot of land in Palm Beach. And I think that, I can't speak for Brian and Anna, but I would be willing to treat you out to lunch if you would come there, okay? On my dime, okay? A free lunch. But just to show you around from not an owner, I have no vested interest in Hippocrates except for that I love it. I go there frequently, and I think that for you to make a decision, it's much more than, and I've been to the Ritz-Carltons and the different places for just eating a little bit better food and a diet. This is so much more, And it's hard to make a decision by reading a pamphlet or just hearing someone talk about it. You have to go there and be open-minded and spend an afternoon and spend a day. And I can't tell you enough what it's done for me. And I can bring you a list of people that I live in Miami, I don't live up here, that travel up here, that come here, and people that I've brought here. So, you know, my interest here is just to see the word spread and to see it have the impact it's had for me with other people. So thank you for your time, and once again, happy holidays.
Thank you very much. Mr. Silverman?
Ms. Brown wanted to go ahead of me. If I
Oh, that's fine.
yield
Let her
to
go
your-
ahead. Yep. Oh, maybe not.
You asked.
Good night, everyone. It's nice to see everyone again. I'm here on behalf of the union, and first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Jane Brown. I'm a chief chef steward at Central Transportation, and I'm just here tonight on behalf of SEIU, FPSU, and Alfonso Mayfield to say thank you for the wonderful bargaining discussion we had, and it was great. It was really great, and we do need to do some more work, and we do need to bring some other workers up. That's to the bottom. And it was a great session, and I want to just say I really appreciate Miss Vicky for a great job she has done, and for having an attentive ear to listening to our concern. And thank you, Dr. Rosa, for, you know, really giving us that opportunity to really come out and speak openly and try to bring everyone up, because it's hard working in Florida where, you know, the wages and the cost of living is so high. But once again, I just want to say thank you, Dr. Robertson, everyone. Thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful New Year's, and I hope next year bargaining would be even better.
Thank you very much. Mr. Silverman?
Yes, thank you very much. Good to see you again this month. I was here last month encouraging you to establish a transportation advisory committee for the board. I realize it's been just a few weeks and there was Thanksgiving break, so I'm not really expecting real fast action on that, but I hope it will move forward. As always, I'm speaking only on my behalf, not on behalf of anybody else. I did notice that apparently last week you had a board workshop that was one of the subjects was transportation safety, and on the website you posted, I guess, what was a PowerPoint presentation, maybe 17 slides, and I think you're only getting part of the story in that workshop, if that was pretty much the contents of the workshop. I want to dissect a couple things that you were told. You were told by the department that, quote, we have reduced the vacancy rate from almost 14% to around 1% for bus drivers. Well, that may be, but when you look at the absentee rate, I can tell you that it's going to be a lot more higher than 1%. We have people sitting out on benches for various disciplinary reasons. We have people away on medical leave. We have a lot of absences on Fridays and Mondays, just people calling off. And we do have drivers leaving because they're fed up with student behavior and with management. And one of the problems is, even if the driver shows up, we often have delays in finding a bus that is working and safe to drive. We're bounced from one bus to another until we finally have one that maybe we'll get by with. We're told, write it up when we have a repair issue, and we have to write up things 10, 12 times, and sometimes it even doesn't get done then. And I have a horror story I could share, but there's no time for that. So we're ending up doing double runs sometimes and added stops a lot of the time. Now, the other item that I want to dissect, I don't have a minute to do this, is a statement said, when the dismissal bell sounds and the students board the bus, students are instructed to go to their assigned seat and put on their seatbelt. Well, number one, no announcements are made when the dismissal bell sounds, no announcements in the school. And then when the kids board the bus for their assigned seat, are you aware that after the software change this past summer, the schools and the compounds cannot compile a list of the kids that are allowed to ride a particular bus? We do not know who is actually allowed to ride the bus. We used to get rosters. They can't produce these anymore, okay? And the other thing is about putting your seatbelt on. Are you aware that about 10 years ago, my time's running out, about 10 years ago, all the buses were ordered to disconnect their internal public address systems? And the reason was because maybe one or two drivers were playing religious music or announcing religious announcements on the bus. And the school board's wisdom at that time was disconnect all the internal PA systems on the bus, and we cannot communicate with our kids, the loud ones especially. I have more to say, but I'm up. Time's up.
Thank you very much. That concludes our speakers. Is there a motion to adjourn? Mr. Barbieri?
Dr. Vosa, two speakers tonight said something I'd like some follow-up on for sure. I'd like to know if there's any reasonable options that the board has with respect to relocating that bus depot away from that residential area is one. I understand you can't answer that tonight. And the other one, the last gentleman that just spoke, I'm concerned about a couple things he said. So I'd like you to follow up with some of the complaints that he brought to our attention so that we have an answer to those complaints. Thank you.
Yeah, Doc, I'm not going to answer all the questions. I want to let you know we will not be having another committee. I know the suggestion was made. I thought we had actually reached out to him, but Dr. Fenoy is going to speak with them now. We've met with the union representatives, and they have a process for taking complaints and concerns, and they'd like for us to continue to use that pathway as opposed to starting another committee. But I'll answer your other ones after I talk with staff. Thank you.
All right. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Mrs. McQuinn, second. Second by Dr. Robinson. All in favor, all opposed, we stand adjourned.